Hi everyone. Okay, so today I decided to make a video about something that I've been doing for a couple of years. This is not related to anything beauty related. I guess this is more related to just your mental wellness. So I read a couple of years ago and I was going through some really bad breakup. And I read a couple of years ago, someone on New Year's Eve, they take a little bottle just like this and they write on a piece of paper all the things that they want to overcome, or just want to forget about, or it can be anything like a characteristic change, like something that about your personality that you don't like, or like a grudge that you've been holding, or a job that you don't like, or a friendship that you've been trying to fix and you just haven't been able to find the right words, or just anything that you just want to get over or conquer, literally anything. So what they do is on December 31st, like literally New Year's Eve, they put in all those things in a little piece of paper, and they write each individual things in individual pieces of paper, and then they put it in this little bottle, and then they close it, and they do not open this box at all for a whole year. So they will open it at the next December 31st. So basically New Year's Eve to New Year's Eve. So when you open it and like a whole year later, you see like what you have overcome and what you still need to work on, or what you can just look at it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was actually so bothered by this. And that just shows growth, and that shows you've gotten over something. So that shows progress. So I've been doing this for maybe at least 3 years. So the last 2 years I was like going through was like just kind of healing from this really horrible breakup. And I don't even know if it was a breakup. It was just like literally the worst. It was like a really bad relationship that I was just like healing from. So the last 3 years, I just really haven't been in the right frame of mind for myself, because I was kind of rushing my healing. So the things that I've like put in the bottle, like the last few years, I've kind of like portraying to just anger and just frustration about like being stuck in this one position in life where you're just like, why am I just not over this old relationship yet? Or why am I not over what I did? So there was a lot of lack of forgiveness there, on my end, like forgiving myself for my past mistakes, because I'm a huge believer in accountability. And even if you were like in a very abusive relationship, and yes, you are innocent, you are a victim, but there's also an accountability factor that has to go into it. So for me personally, again, just for me personally, there was like a lot of accountability that I had to take for, and I did. But the hard part was actually forgiving myself, because I told myself, yes, this is my fault. I overstayed my stay, and I like overlooked the disrespect, the cheating, the manipulation, but I still stayed because I was lacking self-worth and self-love and all that good stuff that that makes a person whole. Anyway, so over the past few years, I've just been kind of writing, all these things. And every year I open up and I'm like, oh man, I'm still not over it, but that's okay. But something I did notice that every year that I was making progress, and it was slow but steady, but I was making progress. And like the first year, I remember I was like so angry at my ex and just so full of rage, and that's okay. And so much rage and so much need for vengeance or like justice. Like I wasn't like gonna go and like egg his house or something crazy. I was just like wondering, like, where's God? Like, why am I like, I'm such a good person? Like, why would anyone do this to me? And just kind of like, woe is me, but also feeling all those emotions about grief. So I had to show myself a lot of grace, and grace is a huge thing that I learned over these years. But anyway, I'm making this video because I really want to talk about what I had put in last year. I completely forgot about it this New Year's Eve because I've been so busy flying and working, and I'm just like exhausted. So I finally got to open this. I know it's 6 days late, like we're already into 2023. And I'm already supposed to have like put the new stuff in here, and the new stuff is like private, it's like whatever goes in, it's just for you only. And then at the end of the year is like when you open, and you can feel free to share if you want. But so anyway, this is a great tip. So anyway, this evening, about like an hour or so ago, I was like, oh my gosh, like I haven't even opened this and like put my new goals for 2023 yet. So, and then it's like, let me open it and read. And I was mind blown. So there's there's a time like when you're healing, or if you got fired, or if you lost a job, or you can't find a job, or you came up with like a bad relationship, or you just got like a really bad health diagnosis, or you're just suffering just from depression. And depression can be like really soul crushing, trust me, I know. So when you have all of that, but then when you start getting better and feeling better in any of these situations, and you're moving on, and you start to realize like there's a turning point to your grief, where there are some instances where you will never get over what happened, but you'll just learn to deal with it. So there's a turning point. So I remember like at the end of 2021, like going into 2022, I felt kind of like a turning point, but I was still like, I remember actually all the little pieces of things I have right here that I had written in for the year 2022. I remember writing this like literally with tears in my eyes, because I was like super depressed, and I was like, this sucks. Like, I can't even get a hold of my life. Like, why am I such a mess? Just like really putting myself down. But anyway, regardless, I did it, and I wanted to just see, and I was like, and it felt like overall 2022 was just kind of rough, and just like really like, ugh, I don't know, I was just really glad it was over. But guys, when I opened this, I was just shocked at how much I had overcome. So first of all, let me talk about the things like the positive things that I had actually overcome. So the little first thing was like fear of moving out. Okay, also first of all, when I opened some of these, I was like, I can't believe I wrote some of these, because that shows growth, that you're just like, I can't, like, it almost seems silly to you, but that, like, again, show yourself grace, because you have moved on from something, and you actually took those steps. So number one was like fear of moving out. I made a little pile of, I wish you guys could see, but I made a little pile of like things that I've overcome, and then another like maybe, and then another one that's like, okay, maybe these are some things I need to work on. So number one was like fear of moving out. I've always like been at my parents' house, and it was like a comfort thing, and something just didn't feel right to like move out on my own. And also like in the middle of this pandemic, like I was like, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do? And I was just always so apprehensive for years, just like staying in my parents' house. And also as a flight attendant, it's almost like useless to have your own apartment. Of course, this is based on your personal life. Like for me, I was just flying so much, I was never home, so why would I pay so much rent? So anyway, there was a fear of moving out. But this past summer, I moved to San Antonio with my boyfriend, so I'm really proud of myself. I actually cannot believe that I had written this in. It must have been like really bogging me down. On I do remember it was bogging me down, but I'm only surprised now, because to me, I'm just like, okay, it wasn't that bad, it wasn't that scary, So that was number one, fear of moving out. And number two, love and commitment. So after coming out of like this really crazy 7-year abusive relationship, I was very much in, I guess I was like cautious. I'm in a very committed, happy, extremely happy relationship, but there was always that part of me that was just like questioning, like, am I like, is this really good? Like, am I gonna get hurt again? And that's normal and natural, and that's completely okay. But I know that this was a big fear of mine, because something just didn't feel right, and I was just like wondering, like, am I just gonna really truly heal? Like, am I gonna feel whole? But I'm actually laughing at some of these, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no issue. Like, something happened. So me thinking that like 2022 was like whatever, like I just got over it, unbeknownst to me, the greatest thing about like this whole little project is like you see, and you can actually reflect back and be like, oh my gosh, I made serious progress. I think that's insane. And I did not even realize how much progress I had made in this love and commitment section, because before I just used to be like kind of like one step in, one step out, and I was not being toxic. So it's very important to know that, and I was still in my relationship, but it's very important to know that if you're healing, I highly recommend just like not being in a relationship, just heal outside, especially if you're still showing some reactive toxic behaviors, which is again completely normal. But if you are just like kind of like, is this right for me? And that's okay too. It's okay if your partner is by your side, is supportive, is understanding of your healing process, and you're actually actively working towards healing, and you're also able to recognize that I'm not going to hurt my partner because of my past issues. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be in a relationship as long as you're treating your partner with respect, and you're also recognizing what you need. Like, if you need space, go for it. So I'm really proud of myself for like getting over my fear of love and commitment. And then next one is like fear of being a leader. I've always been told that I'm like too aggressive and I come off like very abrasive. I'm not. I've come to realize that I always lead my life with love and kindness, and I don't ever dictate anybody. So the people that have told me this are just very passive followers, and it's okay if you're a follower, but there's also toxic followers that like to put down other leaders. So I have actually reached a point, and all of these things that I've that I had gotten over, and I'm starting to realize that it was only like in the last 3 months that I just like maximize this growth. Like I just had this push of my mindset the last 3 months where I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done being like feeling like a victim. I want to like not just survive, but I want to thrive. So I maximized my growth, my healing, like the last 3 years. So this one was huge for me. And I'm actually, as a flight attendant, like I do fly in some leadership positions on the airplane. And I have noticed that I'm really confident now, and I'm not like questioning my actions or any decisions that I make on the aircraft, because I'm proud of my leadership skills. I feel content and I'm confident in my leadership skills. So I'm actually really proud of this. Now, this is also something that you can always continue working on. Being a leader is just something that's always constantly evolving. It's always so important to stay humble and make sure that a good leader is not just doesn't act like a boss, you know, that you are the same level as the people that you are with. So I'm really proud of that one. And then the next one is fear of stepping out of my comfort zone. I recently just started my Monat hair business, and like that is something that I could have never ever thought about. Like even making a video. Although I'm not scared of like talking on camera, it's just something that it's just something like, oh, is this really gonna work? Like, you know, just taking that risk is so big, and I am so proud of myself for stepping out of my comfort zone. The next one is like fear of speaking up, and this happens a lot at work. And if there's like one crew member acting a certain way, and it's kind of like you don't, you know, if you're one of those people that, which is me, you know, that there's like the glue, and you don't want any conflict, you're kind of like scared of speaking up, but it kind of takes a toll overall, because the other person who is voiceless, they might need your help. So lately I've noticed again in the last 3 months that I have no fear of speaking up. I stand up for people that are voiceless. I am able to call out terrible behaviors or people that are disrespectful, and just set firm boundaries, especially in my professional environment, and also with family members or toxic family members. And I'm really like proud of that. I'm proud of speaking up, like, hey, you can't enforce this on me. I am my own person, and let me make my own decision. Okay, so I'm really proud of that. That is another huge thing. And another one is like, don't judge me, but it's funny, ironic I'm saying that, because this one is like quick judgment of people. In my industry, it's like very easy to just like roll your eyes at people. You're like, oh my gosh, like what is this person doing? Like I can't believe they're doing like this. Or when they respond in a certain way, you're just like, oh, they're such a mess. And I was not actively like like one of those mean girl high school people. I wasn't, but I wanted to stop all those kind of thoughts that are in my head. They're just like, what is that person doing? Like, are they nuts? Like, I didn't want to say something that, are they nuts? Like, that's just not, okay, so to elaborate on that, my goal was like to see another human as a human being, and that they have feelings, and that what I'm seeing and like what the stereotypes encompassed around other people, I don't have to partake in that I have to break away from that. That was a very active, conscious decision that I had to make every single day. And I am really proud of myself for like breaking away from it, especially like when you're also like in an industry where that is kind of what people just do. People watch and like make comments that are just like, oh, and you're just like, oh, okay, even though you don't agree with it. Now I have made a firm decision, like, well, that's uncalled for. We don't have to say, like, you know, maybe they're going through something. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, I'm proud of that too. And there's another one, heal from anger from ex relationships, particularly the one that I was talking about. I actually laughed at that when I saw this one, because I don't feel anything anymore. It's taken 3 solid years of healing. And everyone's healing journey is different. I was hurt. Like I was just broken, and I did not think that I could actually recover it. So the pain was great. And I was, as I said earlier, I was rushing my healing, and I was just like, because I think I was so ashamed and I was not showing myself grace. So I laughed at what I saw today, like, you know, that anger at ex relationships. I don't have any anger. I've completely let go. I've forgiven my ex thanks to God's grace, because he forgave me for my sins, and I'm moving on. Now, it's not just as easy as like, just like, well, I forgave him and we're moving on. No. it is an active process every day. When you had someone who abused you so much every single day, mentally, physically, emotionally, and for 7 years, it takes a toll. So this is an active decision that I have to make every single day. Are there days when I'm still like, how dare? Yeah, absolutely. And that's all right. I'm showing myself grace and I'm still healing. But this 3 month period, or this last 3 months, I was just like, no, I'm done, because I want to choose 3 years of healing and waiting and just like seeing all this was like enough for me. Okay, like I know I'm still healing, but I want to actually take conscious and intentional steps towards my life. Like, what am I going to do to maximize my life? I don't want to be stagnant anymore. I don't want to be miserable or unhappy or just like sit here with resentments and grudges. Does that make sense? So there's a couple of things that so 2021 to, so mind you, I wrote this at the end of 2021 going into 2022. I was like really struggling with a lot of chronic illness and gut flare-ups. I had a lot of ulcers and I was in so much pain. So I had written some stuff here that it just kind of shows my own ignorance to like what was happening to my body. It is lack of prioritizing health, like my gut health. And then there's another one, laziness to work out, and then ignoring my physical needs. All these three things kind of like go hand in hand together. After going through 2022, I realized now that I was so dead wrong in putting these, because I thought I was being lazy. I was like actually struggling with a really horrible chronic illness. I had ulcers and I had horrible gut, like anything that I ate was just not digest, and I was so weak. My joints hurt. I gained a lot of weight. My hair fell like in just insane clumps, which is why I'm doing that whole Monat thing now, because I want to recover and heal from it, like so 2022 is the year that I really started to really investigate into like what's going on in my gut. Am I really being lazy? And those times when I couldn't even I couldn't get out of bed at like till 3 p.m. And I can't tell how many times I called out sick from work. I just did not have the energy because my body was simply not taking in any nutrients. I was in so much pain. Flare-ups were horrible. And I would literally be like lying in bed in a fetal position asking God to just take me because the pain was just too much. I couldn't take it. But now that I see that even though I wrote like laziness to work out, ignoring my physical needs, now I see that I just needed to show myself more grace, and that this was simply just me trying to again like an older behavior that I always have is like always like kind of ignoring what I was going through, but just like, come on, just forget it and move forward, like push through. And I'm starting to realize like I don't have to do that anymore. I can slow down, take my time, my personal time that works for me, and heal and take my time in that way. So I'm not rushing my healing in any way, like mentally, physically, or emotionally. So these three I can kind of totally disregard because but it also, again, I can disregard, but it shows growth, like it shows growth in the education of my body. Like before, when I wrote this, I clearly had no idea what was happening, but now I've learned so much about my body. I've learned how to balance the pH levels in my gut. I found the amazing probiotic that has completely changed my life. And I found some digestive enzymes that I take before every meal, and it's helped. And I'm slowly restoring body to its really good, healthy, full state. It's a process, but I'll eventually get there. There are other stuff that I had mentioned about, and another one is like laziness to read the Bible. Again, this also kind of goes because I was so sick and so miserable. I was always like blaming myself. I was like, you're not reading the Bible, you're not praying. But if you really think about it, I was in so much pain, I just couldn't. And you know what? God doesn't, like, he knows when you're in pain. He knows your tears are also a form of prayer. So all the tears I cried right when I was hurting and sad, God saw that. Okay, I may have made an active decision this year to like read my Bible more, write in my prayer journal more, and I am doing those things to the best of my ability. And God knows my heart. God knows your intention. There's no judgment there from God. I was just, again, being hard on myself like I always used to be. And another one, so there's like 2 left. So this is fear of doing charity work or starting it, and then self-doubt of future charity endeavors. I've always wanted to do charity work. Specifically, I wanted to like help out an orphanage in India, or just like go help out in the slums in Mumbai or Chennai. And I've just like always had because me and my dad used to do that like a long time ago. In India, we used to help, there's a home for blind people that we used to like take care of and go and feed them and spend a whole day with them. It was just so amazing and beautiful. And for some reason, again, I was pushing myself, like in the middle of a pandemic. I was just like really pushing myself, being hard on myself, and now I see that I need resources for it. I think I was just being impulsive as always, you know, and now I see that I need resources, and my dream is to have charity. I mean, I've had this dream ever since I was 8 years old, so it's not something that's just going away anytime soon, and God knows my heart, my intentions, and I realize now that I need resources, I need money, and I need people, and I am actually working towards something right now. And if this whole money thing goes up, I want to really spend money on charity work and travel and help, you know, the people and children and orphans in need, actually all over the world, because we have orphans and homeless people and people that just need love and care in America as well. So just generally, overall speaking, that's what. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to show. I highly suggest doing this. This is literally just like get a box. Like, I don't know, I got this from Walmart, I think. I don't even know because it looks like Walmart-ish. And I've used this for several years. So I took out all the old ones and I'm going to put in new ones. I'm going to write in my new goals or whatever I want to overcome for 2023. I feel like I'm in a really, really good mind space. So I feel like, oh, well, what do I want to overcome? But there's always something we can work on in ourselves. So I'm sure if I just think about it just a little bit more, I can find some things to put in. And it doesn't have to be like a very negative thing. It can even be something positive, like, hey, I want to make more friends, or I want to do a job that involves more people. So you know what I mean? It's not necessarily negative. It's just like goals that you want to achieve. And then you reflect back a year later and you're like, oh, look, I think I achieved this, or I am making progress towards it. So anyway, that's all. I hope that was a cool idea. I'm sorry these videos are long, but I really like to go in depth. I know that now our culture is all about like quick videos and reels, whatever. That's fine too, you know, to get quick information, but I wanted to really go into in depth about this and share what was in my box and just kind of share my journey and my story. And I hope that helps, and I hope that you also start doing this. This is really helpful, and I'm excited for this. And it's really cool to see where there was like those years, every year was like opening it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still stuck on my ex, or I'm still stuck on being angry, or I'm still stuck on this job, or like that friendship really went sour, you know. And but now you see the progress, slow but steady, and that is such a boost in confidence. And like it's like really just like a spiritual boost inside, because I'm like, okay, I'm going in the right direction, I am evolving, I am changing, and I'm showing myself grace, I'm forgiving myself, I'm forgiving others. And that is what encompasses a human being. So there you have it. All right, I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.